It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Tuesday teachings. I'm just trying something new. Danse everyone. Oki bonjour. Hello. Welcome to another fabulous Tuesday. Here in Mohkinstsis with the public system, it is spring break. So my kids are on spring break this week, which basically means they're hiding in their rooms and we're going for way too many doctor's appointments. So good times. But the beauty of teenagers. I'm just really thankful and humbled to be here and to be able to share in such a good way. I was thinking about how technology has just advanced so much. Oh, speaking of which, I looked at my phone and I know my phone's probably going to go off as I'm doing the live stream. So I'm going to turn off the sound. Who knew? But I'm just really thankful just for the amount that we can connect over long distances. I'm thinking even 20 years ago, we weren't able to connect the way that we can, whether it be with elders or knowledge keepers or to get those stories. And it's really interesting to see kind of the world that my kids grew up in versus the world that I grew up in. And just that accessibility to culture, I think, is just so incredible. And so I'm really thankful to be able to kind of share that and to be able to do that thing. And really be accessible as well. And so to welcome everyone into the circle today, I'm just introducing, myself and the ancestors that I'm bringing in today. So I'm Chantal. I am Cree, Anishinaabe, and Métis from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, which is in Saskatchewan, just kind of down from Saskatoon. But I'm just really thankful and humbled to be where I am. And even though I'm not from this particular treaty, this has really been my home for a long period of time. And I'm just really thankful and humbled to live in Mohkinstsis, where I live, which is in Treaty 7 territory. And so I always love to acknowledge the land and the people that have been here for time immemorial and those stories that have really brought us together. So I acknowledge the Nitsitapi or Nitsitapi, depending on which nation you're talking to, from Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani. The Blackfoot nations have really shaped and molded this area, and the protocols here and the teachings here and the stories that are steeped into this land, I think, are such an important part of our journey. And so this is why it's important to learn about where you are so that you can walk in a good way, and also just to learn so many cool stories. I also acknowledge the Tsutsuna, who are Sarsi from out east and Dene from up north, and they're known as the Beaver people. I'm just really thankful to have been out there for a couple bundle opening ceremonies and to really just connect to the land out there. Yeah. And I'm just, now my mom's like, I'm thankful for the Costco. So my mom's thankful for the Costco. And then I also wanted to acknowledge the Stoney Nakoda of Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bears Paw, and Big Stony First Nation. Big Stony has just changed its name. So it used to be Wesley and now it's Big Stony. And I think it's really important to understand, those nuances and to really acknowledge all of the nations that you're in. So if we were in Treaty 6 territory, we would be here for like hours acknowledging all of those nations, but there's only 7 here. So it's easy to do. I also want to acknowledge the Métis of Region 3. And I'm just really thankful to act as that bridge between Indigenous and non-Indigenous culture. And so to welcome everyone into the circle today, the same way that I love to do all the time, I wanted to share the Cree welcome song. Traditionally, when I sing songs, I sing in rounds of 4, down at the 4 directions of the medicine wheel, but this song is a little different. I sing it in rounds of 3 to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today, because in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the hoop of life. So it teaches us to honor each other for those differences. Because if we were all exactly the same, the world would be boring and nothing would ever get accomplished. So we need those differences to help our communities to thrive, and to really just honor each other in a good way. And so when we come into the circle without judgment and we don't compare ourselves to someone else, it really elevates us. And I think when we compare ourselves to other people, it tears not only ourselves but other people down. And that's no good. We need to just honor each other for the journeys that we're on, whether we share those journeys or not. And I also want to acknowledge that, we're all in this circle together. When we come into the circle, we might not agree 100% of the time, but when we find those compromises, when we talk things through, when we can see each other's perspectives, that's when our communities really become resilient. And so that's really what the song honors. Miasin, which is the Cree welcome song, it was shared with me several years ago. Oh my gosh, like a really long time ago. And when I heard it, my heart just opened up. I felt like my heart split open and I was able to welcome in my ancestors for the first time. And it's really been such an important part of my journey, the important part of starting in a good way. I start every morning with Miyasin, greeting the sun, greeting my ancestors, and inviting everyone in. And this song is from the Natahau family of Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, and I'm so thankful for that family. And today I was able to text back and forth with Joseph, Elder Joseph Natahau, and I'm really, really thankful and humbled because I can't wait to hear more just about the journey of this song, to know it a little bit deeper, and to have more of a deeper connection to it. I think that's such a beautiful gift. And so Miyasin, it's our way not only to welcome in all of our ancestors, but I also acknowledge that it's been hard for us to keep our songs together, to keep our stories together, to keep our nations together, and to keep our culture, because for so long we weren't allowed. We weren't allowed to share. We have a lot of elders that had a lot of fear around being able to share that knowledge, but because of families like the Natahau family and our family and other elders and knowledge keepers, we've been able to share these teachings in a good way. And so that's really how I feel when I share this song, that those teachings are coming through in a good way. And so Miyasin, it doesn't just mean welcome, although it does welcome in all of our ancestors, and so my basement gets a little busy, but it also means beautiful. I'm gonna stand up to sing. Miyasin, Miyasin, Hasemina, Hasemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Miyasin, Miyasin, Hasemina, Hasemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Miyasin, Miyasin, Hasemina, Hasemina, Epentakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today. I really wanted to share a story. So I was thinking about stories that I haven't shared in a really long time that I had learned from a few different elders and knowledge keepers in Mohkinstsis in this territory. So this is actually a Blackfoot story, and I kind of incorporate a few different versions of it from the different elders that I've learned it from and the different storytellers that I've learned it from. But I was thinking about this story and just how fun it can be, and I love to see when you tell stories to kids and they light up and they can laugh but learn at the same time. I think that's so important. And so this is the story of Okotoks. And so Okotoks, it literally means big rock. So there's a big rock in the city of Okotoks, and it is split down the center. And the story behind that stone, because nobody knows how it got there, but of course, all of our stories have reasons and ways to explain how things got into certain places. And so this is the story of Okotoks. So, a long time ago, in Blackfoot culture, they have napi. And napi is very much like Wasagajak in Cree culture. So, he gets in trouble. He likes to get in trouble. And he's kind of embodies some of the best of our qualities, but also some of the worst of our qualities. And so he was being lazy, as he normally does. And he had this big, beautiful buffalo robe on because it was very cold in the morning. You know how in springtime or in the fall it gets very cold in the morning and then it can be very beautiful during the day. And so he was wrapped in this big buffalo robe and he walked up to the top of a hill. And by the time he got to the top of the hill, grandfather's sun was high in the sky and he was starting to get really, really, really warm. And he was sweating, covered in this buffalo robe, and he thought, oh my gosh, I gotta get rid of this thing. And so he pulled it off and he put it on top of this giant boulder. And the boulder said, oh, Nappy, is this a gift for me? And Nappy was like, yeah, whatever, you can have it. Thinking it was going to be too hot for him today, so he wouldn't need it. And the boulder said, no one's ever given me a gift before. Thank you so much, Nappy. I appreciate it. And Nappy said, you're welcome. I don't know why a boulder would need a buffalo robe, but yeah, you can have it, I guess. And then Nappy fell asleep right under a tree, scratched his back, and he fell fast asleep in the morning sun. But he had slept for so long that as the sun started to go down and it started to get cold, he woke up and he was shivering. He thought, oh, it's really cold. Oh, I need that buffalo robe back. So he grabbed it and he wrapped it around himself. And the boulder said, Nappy, what are you doing? And Nappy said, I'm cold. I'm taking my buffalo robe back. And he said, Nappy, you gifted me that buffalo robe. You can't take it back. And Nappy said, well, what does a boulder need with a big buffalo robe anyway? You don't need it. You don't need to stay warm or covered or protected. That's silly. Why would I give a boulder a buffalo robe? And so he wrapped it around himself and started to walk away. But the boulder said, that is my robe, Nappy. You gave it to me. And he started rolling after Nappy. Nappy started walking a little bit faster and looking over his shoulder, saying, hey, stop following me. And the boulder started to roll faster, saying, Nappy, give me back that buffalo robe. You gifted it to me. And he said, no. And he started going a little bit faster. And the rock started rolling even faster. And then Nappy started picking up speed. Stop following me. And the rock said, no, Nappy, you give me that back. And Nappy said, no! And he started running faster. And the rock started rolling faster. Nappy started running faster. The rock started rolling faster until Nappy yelled, ah, it's gonna squish me! And he started running faster and faster and faster. And he ran over hills and valleys, and everywhere the rock went, he created these deep, dark grooves into the soil. And Nappy screamed, someone help me! He's gonna squish me! And as the rock rolled, he said again, Nappy, give me back that buffalo robe. But Nappy said, no! And kept running. And he ran through valleys, and then all of the animals saw what was happening. And they said, oh, Nappy's definitely gonna get squished by that rock. We should probably help him. And all of the animals said, okay, how are we going to help him? And the beaver said, well, I can stack a bunch of rocks logs in front. Maybe that will slow him down. And also, if it's in the sticky mud, it should stop the rock. And they said, Nappy, Nappy, come over this way. And the beautiful beaver knocked down all of the trees right over top of some sticky mud. And then the Nappy jumped over top and kept running. And then the rock started rolling faster and faster and faster, saying, Nappy, give me back that buffalo robe. Very easily, shoo, he went right over the mud and the sticky mud and the sticky, the big logs. But the beaver was in the way. Her tail was just dangling, and whoom, the rock went right over the beaver's tail, squishing it. And now the beaver has a flat tail. And they said, oh no, how would we slow it down? And Nappy said, he's gonna get me! and kept running. And of course, the rock was rolling faster right after Nappy saying, Nappy, give me back that buffalo robe. And Nappy said, no, and kept running. And then he said, someone else has to help me. And the duck said, oh, bring him over here into the pond, into the wetlands. He might drown. And so the duck was trying to bring all of the other ducks together so that they could create that spot to stop him. And then, of course, as the rock was rolling and Nappy ran through all the mud and the muck and all of the water was splashing everywhere, he's like, oh, she's gonna get me. And he kept running and running, and that rock easily whoosh, went right through all of the wetland, all of the water. There was a big splash everywhere. Everyone was coated in mud. And before they knew it, the duck looked up and her beak was flattened and her feet were flattened. The rock had run over her feet, and now the duck has flat feet and a fat beak. And so she said, what are we going to do? No one can stop this rock. It's too big. And all of the animals said, well, let us try. The bear tried to push it, but it wouldn't budge. It was just rolling too fast and it was too big. Then finally the teeny tiny little sparrow said, let us try. And all of the animals said, sparrows, how are you supposed to try? And they said, let us just try. And so all together, the sparrows started pecking and pecking and pecking at the top of the rock as it was rolling. And Nappy kept running, oh, she's gonna get me. And the rock kept saying, Nappy, give me back my buffalo robe. But of course, Nappy said, no, and kept running. And still those birds were pecking and pecking and pecking and pecking and pecking until there was a loud crack. And the center of the boulder started to crack in half, and Nappy, who was running, heard the loud crack and looked behind him just to see that big, beautiful boulder split in half and fall, both sides rocking back and forth. And the boulder looked so sad and so pitiful. And the boulder said, Nappy, you gifted me that robe, and now look what's happened. That wasn't right. And Nappy, he felt very bad. It was all of his fault that big, beautiful stone was now split right in two. And he said, I'm sorry, Okatoks, which means big rock. I will give you this beautiful buffalo robe. And so as Nappy took that buffalo robe off, he laid it in between the two stones. And then all of this beautiful foliage, all of these beautiful plants started to grow, and the winds and the energy started to swirl. And he said, now, Okatoks, you will be a sacred place and a reminder to never take back gifts. And that is the story of Okatoks, the big rock. Yeah, as I've heard it and as I've known it, it's a really fun story. I love our stories because they all change depending on who's teaching them, to who's telling them, and just their experiences. And so I want to share the only Blackfoot song I know, Gitsi Gakaman. And so Gitsi Gakaman means I love you. It's the Blackfoot word for I love you, and I learned it from my friend Stephanie English. Love you, my sister. And also my good friend Sandra Manyfeathers. Love you, my sister. And also it's from Olivia Tailfeathers, who is a phenomenal Blackfoot artist, and she has incredible albums online, so please do check her out if you want to learn more Blackfoot music. It is also really good to share with kids, and I believe if you're a teacher watching this, there are some educational resources around her that she has shared. So that's Olivia Tailfeathers, who is Blackfoot. And so, yeah, I'm going to share Gitsikakaman. Normally when I teach kids, I do it as a call and response. So we can try a call and response. And I'll break it down a little bit and just kind of explain what the words mean. So, Gitsikakaman. So it's Gitsikakaman, Gitsikakaman. We sing it to everyone first. Everyone, everyone, Gitsikakaman, Gitsikakaman. Everyone, everyone, Gitsikakaman, Gitsikakaman. Everyone, everyone, Gitsikakaman, Gitsikakaman. Way-ah, way-oh, way-o, 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 way-o. Gitsi ga komen, gitsi ga komen. Awesome. So I'm going to share that song 4 times, of course, to honor the 4 directions. And we're going to sing it, well, the first time to everyone. The second time we're going to sing it to our beautiful Mother Earth, which in Blackfoot is na-ah, na-ah. And then we're going to sing it to where we live, which is mokinstis, mokinstis, which means elbow. And then we're going to sing it to everyone again. And I just want to honor the drum that I have. I just made this last week, and I was very excited when it dried, and I wanted to play it today. So this is Anishinaabe style, so it looks like a dream catcher, and it's actually really good for arthritis. So if people have arthritis, it's really good for lactic acid in your fingers and sore joints, just because you don't have to grab one thing. You can actually just like relax and put your fingers in wherever they feel comfortable, and the vibrations actually are really good for arthritis. So who knew? And this is buffalo. You can tell because it's really dark. And this is the, Gitsi Gakman. Gitsi Gakman, everyone, everyone. Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, everyone, everyone. Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, everyone, everyone. Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman. Hey-o, 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 Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, na-ah, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, na-ah, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, na-ah, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman. Hey-o, 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 Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, no kinstes, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, mo kinstes, Gitsi Gakman, mo kinstes, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman. Hey-o, 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 Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman, everyone, Gitsi Gakman, everyone, everyone, Gitsi Gakman, everyone, everyone, Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman. Hey-o, 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 Gitsi Gakman, Gitsi Gakman. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. I do love that song. It makes me very happy, and it makes me feel appreciated, and I love telling kids that I care about them and I love them. And so, I was thinking about some of the songs that I carry, or that I don't like to say I wrote them. I always feel like they came through me and then I didn't really write anything. But I actually like to share my daughter's song. So, whoops, that's not the right folder. Give me a second. I always look at it and I know it, but for some reason, there she is. All right. I'm hoping to learn some Cree from my one auntie, and hopefully I'll be able to do that soon, because I learn it phrase by phrase or word by word, and I got an app now. I was like, wait a second, my auntie's in this app. And so I was like, well, I guess I should just call her and learn from her. So I'm going to give it a call. Now that I have a little bit of a break, I lie. I always say I have a little bit of a break this week. I don't. I'm actually going to Red Deer tomorrow. So yay. But yeah, this is the daughter song. The story behind the song is when I was part of a speaker series with CADA, which is the Calgary Arts Development. We put together a speaker series bringing together amazing elders and artists and youth in the community, and community members and teachers, just people who are really investing in our future generations, and some people who really hadn't had that exposure to a lot of First Nations teachings and understanding, or build relationships with First Nations people in this particular area. And so just to have that access to knowledge and do something natural to us, which is like eat dinner and share in food. And so we'd had this beautiful dinner series, but it was right before COVID. And so we'd had two. So we were supposed to have one each season, one for each solstice. And then, of course, after the second, we all know what happened. COVID hit, and everyone was given kinship tables. And as artists, we were said, okay, you take the theme of your table and you create something with it. So people were given things like mother, or grandmother, or grandfather, or uncle, or family member, and it was really cool. And I got daughter, and I thought, okay, well, I have two sons, and like, okay, daughter. So I am a daughter, so maybe that's that. My mom's a daughter, maybe that's that. And I was thinking about how we are connected to Mother Earth. So we are all her children, whether that be daughters, sons, two-spirit people, people who walk on Mother Earth. And so we are all her children. So I thought about that perspective. But then, right, as the pandemic fell, I adopted two girls, and they've been in my life ever since. And so as I'm wondering, okay, why did I get this table daughter? All of a sudden, boom, I had daughters. And it was such a beautiful gift, and so wonderful and enlightening. And I've always known I was going to have twins. I just didn't know how they were going to come into my life, and boom, there they were. And so it made so much sense. And so I went and I talked to my elder about the terms for those kinships, about the terms for daughter, about how we can say that we're all connected, more like all my relations, like we all should take care of each other in this world. And she helped me with some of the words to use in the song. And one of the words that I always share is sakihituin, which means I love you. It's almost like I love and appreciate every moment, very much like Gitzigakumin and Blackfoot. But sakihituin is almost like I love every essence of every being of everything, and I want to take care and honor you in that way. And so, excuse me. Oh, hello, my sister. And so yeah, then this song kind of came about, and this is dedicated to my daughters. And so this is daughter. Oh, I should explain the words. So, Otanisu means your daughter. Kitanis means her daughter. Nitanis means my daughter. And Kitanisanao means our daughters. And so it's really about taking care of each other, and taking care of our future generation through our girls, through our daughters. And then eventually that translates into our sons, because we had matriarchal societies, so the women were the ones that held our communities together. And we need to remember that knowledge, because that's who takes care of all of our community. That's who elevates the voices of every single one of us, is our matriarchs. and our two spirit people. I think that's really important to understand as well. And so, yeah, and Gakiao ne Wakimekanuk is our way of saying all my relations. We are all family, so we need to take care of each other. All right, this is daughter. Gakiao ne Wakimekanuk Sakihito Sakihito Otanisu Sakihito Weyo 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 hey ayo Weyo weyo Kitanis Sakihito Weyo 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 hey ayo Weyo weyo Gakiao ne Wakimekanuk Sakihito Sakihito Itanis Sakihito Weyo 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 hey ayo Weyo weyo Gakiao ne Wakimekanuk Sakihito Sakihito Itani Sanao Sakihito Weyo 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 hey ayo Weyo weyo Kikiao ne Wakimekanuk Sakihito Sakihito Otanisu Sakihito Kitanis Sakihito Itanis Sakihito Kitanis Anao Sakihito Weyo weyo Gakiao ne Wakimekanuk Sakihito Sakihito Weyo weyo And so, yeah, that's the daughter song. That's for my girls. I'm in the process of writing a song for my boys. But I don't think there's a word for tech addict in Cree. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love my kids. But yeah, they've really shaped and molded my life. I'm so thankful. I know I've been a single mom for like ever, but I wouldn't have chosen any other way. They have that strength and that resilience, and they remind me to do better, to leave a better world for my future generations, to leave a better world for them and my, possibly grandchildren, possibly great grandchildren. I can't wait to be a cookum. I know I look too young to be a cookum, but I'm just kidding. But something about the right age. But to really honor the earth for them. So I think when you have kids, or you have, children in your life, or children that you're surrounded with, whether they're your physical children, your nieces and nephews, or children that you mentor, they just change your perspective, and they make you more humble. And so I'm really, really thankful for my kiddos. That being said, I'm going to actually share the chickadee song. And so the chickadee song kind of came through me in ceremony. I was asking for a song to share with children. And this song kind of, I was like, okay, well, bring me a song. And then the little chickadees, every time we'd open the flap of the sweat lodge, it was like, chickadee dee 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 dee, cheeseburger. And they never got that close to the lodge, which was really weird because they would have been there so many times. But then the third round, when it was just so hot that everybody left, except for me, because I love, love, love hot sweats. I lived in Arizona for 4.5 years, and when I was there and I went to lodges, when you come out of a sweat lodge and it's 45 degrees and it feels cool, you're in a hot lodge. And so it was beautiful, but I'm just very used to that. So everybody had kind of left the lodge, and I was just sitting there kind of like, hoping and praying, and I heard a song in my heart. And then I looked over, and the little chickadees were coming in and out of the lodge, and just looking at me going, chickadee dee 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 dee, cheeseburger. And I was like, oh, this is your song. And so this is their song that I'm sharing for them. But the chickadee teaches us how to listen. It teaches us never to interrupt, because chickadees never interrupt each other. You'll hear one say chickadee dee 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 dee, and then that other pause before the next one says cheeseburger. But when they have those conversations, they're never actually speaking over each other. They're talking to each other. And it's that reminder that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak, very much like the chickadee does. And our mouths can close so that we can listen better. So this is the chickadee song, and it's a call and response song. So it's the chickadee calling out and calling right back. So we'll go through it. Happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho 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 ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho. Happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, way oh, 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 way oh. Way oh, way oh, way oh, way oh, way oh, way oh. Happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho. Happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho. And we're gonna sing that through, well, technically 7 times, but 4. Awesome. And so this is the chickadee song. I think, yeah. Awesome. Happy oh ho ho, happy oh, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho ho, happy oh ho, story of the bear, because it's funny, like seeds get planted and then you fill in the gaps with some of our traditional stories. And I just love them. Oh, I didn't even smudge today. Oh my goodness. So, the story of the bear. There's actually a few stories of the bear, but the one that I'm really falling in love with is where he learns what it means to stand up for himself and for his against his friends, because sometimes that takes a lot of courage, which is why the bear is courage. And so a long time ago, all of the animals were getting gifts, and all of the animals were really excited. The 7 animals were lining up. Sabe got honesty, because of course you can't see Sabe unless you're honest with yourself and you're honest with the world around you. Of course the turtle got truth, because she carries all of the truth of the earth on her back. Buffalo got respect, because the way that the buffalo walks and honors the earth, she is so respectful. She never steps on plants or animals or bugs, and she only takes what she needs. She leaves the roots of a plant in the ground. So she teaches us how to honor and respect the earth, and how never to take the first thing that we see, because it might be the last. The beaver, everyone goes to the beaver for advice. So she got wisdom. It doesn't mean that she's the smartest animal, but she definitely is the wisest animal, because she thinks things through. The Magizi, the eagle, he got love, because he soars the highest. He brings that love to us from the Creator. And then the bear lined up, and he was really excited. He was like, okay, Creator, I'm ready for my gift. What's my gift? And he said, well, I just gifted humility to the wolf. And so I have one special gift left for you, and it is courage. And the bear said, courage, great. What do I do with courage? And he said, well, courage is the ability to stand up for what's right. It's the ability to be yourself, and be brave enough to be yourself, and be brave enough sometimes to stand up to your friends, but also to do the right thing, to stand up for your community. He said, okay, do the right thing. Stand up for my community. Is that like helping, Creator? And Creator said, well, I suppose it is kind of like helping. And then the bear said, okay, so courage is helping. I can help. And then he walked away, not thinking much of it, looking for someone to help. And then the first animal that he passed was the beaver. Now, even though the beaver is very smart, and even though the beaver is very wise, she makes mistakes, because of course nobody's perfect. And if you never made a mistake, well, then you would never learn. And that is the beauty of the wisdom of the beaver. She knows that sometimes she has to make mistakes to learn and to be even more wise. And so she had cut down a tree, a very, very big tree. It was far too big for her. And she was trying to push it into the river, but it was just too big. And you could say that she bit off a little more than she could chew. And so the bear went, well, I'm very strong. I could probably push that tree very easily for the beaver. And so he went down and said, Beaver, can I help? And the beaver said, oh, bear, that'd be amazing. I've been trying to push this tree for like an hour, and it's just not budging. And the bear said, no problem. And very easily, whoosh, the bear pushed the tree in the river. And the beaver said, wow, bear, you're so strong. Thank you so much for your help. And the bear said, you're welcome, and continued on his path. And then he came across a mole. And the mole had been digging a fantastic little tunnel to go to the other side where her family was. But then she hit this really compressed, really hard piece of earth. And she was trying to dig through it, trying to dig through it, trying to dig through it. She couldn't dig around it because it was too big. And she was just exhausted. And the bear went and said, Mole, you look like you're having a problem. And the mole explained, Bear, I hit this hard patch of earth, and my paws, they're just too small, and my claws aren't sharp enough to get through it. I don't know what to do. And the bear looked at his paws, and they were huge. He looked at his claws, and they were sharp. And he thought, I could dig through that earth very easily. Mole, can I help? And the mole said, oh, Bear, that would be wonderful. And very easily, shunk, 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 the bear dug through the earth. And the mole said, wow, Bear, you're an amazing digger. Thank you so much for your help. And the bear said, you're welcome, and continued on his path. Then the bear passed a squirrel, and then he had to double back, because the squirrel, even though she was surrounded by so much food and so much abundance, she looked really sad. And the bear said, Squirrel, why do you look so upset? You have all of these fruit and berries and nuts. And the squirrel explained, well, Bear, they're not just for me. They're for my family for the season ahead, because winter is coming. And I need to get them all up into that tree for my family. But as soon as I even start taking a little bit of this away, well, those magpies behind us, they're all going to try and steal it. And the bear turned around and looked over his shoulder, and sure enough, there were the magpies, getting ready to steal the food. And the bear said, oh, that's no good. How can we fix this situation? He looked up at her tree and said, well, I could probably reach the tree. And then he looked at his arms, and his arms were huge. He could very easily gather up all of the food and lift it right into the tree. So he said, squirrel, can I help? And the squirrel said, oh, bear, that would be amazing. And so very easily he gathered up all of the fruit and the berry and the nuts, and he carried them all over to the tree. He reached into the tree and he poured all of those beautiful nuts and berries and fruits into the tree. And the squirrel said, wow, bear, you are an amazing carrier and you're so tall. Thank you so much for your help. And the bear said, you're welcome, and continued on his path to help more animals. He kept finding more and more animals to help. But word got around the forest that the bear was being very, very helpful. And so animals started coming to him for help whenever they needed it. And then sometimes they started to come to him for help even when they didn't need it. They started to take him for granted. The raccoon, who was feeling a little lazy one day, said, bear, my tree is like really high. Can you just lift me up and put me in the tree? And the bear said, I guess so. Picked him up, put him in the tree, and the raccoon said, thanks, bear. And the bear said, you're welcome. And then the little mouse came up and said, good morning, bear. And the bear said, good morning, mouse. How can I help you today? She said, can you take me to the other side of the forest? And he was confused. He said, of course, I love to help. And so he picked up the mouse, and together they walked all the way over to the other side of the forest. And it was really far. It was a very far journey. It was about a whole day's walk. And he got there, and they looked around, and she said, just as I suspected, it's the same as the other side of the forest. Well, this is boring. All right, bear, let's go home. He said, okay. And he started walking back over to the other side of the forest, which took him almost another entire day. They got there very, very, very late at night. And he put the beautiful mouse down on the ground, and the mouse said, thanks, bear. And the bear said, you're welcome. He was getting so tired from helping everyone out. But everyone kept asking for help. Hey, bear, can you help me? Hey, bear, can I get a hand? Hey, bear, can you lift me up over here? And so he started to get even more exhausted. The wind started to change, and the leaves started to change color and started to fall off the trees. And the more he helped, the more exhausted he got until, maybe if I have a snack, I'll have enough energy to help my friends. And so he went to start snacking, and he started eating, and eating, and eating, and eating, and eating, and eating until, he was so incredibly full. And being so full made him so tired. He thought, maybe I'll just go have a little nap, and then I'll feel better and I'll be able to help my friends. And so he went into his bear den, and he fell fast asleep. Well, all of the animals were still looking for their friends, and they called out, bear, where are you? Hey, bear, can I get a hand over here? Hey, bear, I need some help over here. But no matter where they called, they couldn't find him. And they started to worry after the third day, and they thought, oh no, where's the bear? Did he run away? Let's go ask the beaver, because the beaver's the smartest animal we know. And so they went to the beaver, and they said, beaver, the bear's been missing for 3 whole days, and we have no idea where he is. And the beaver thought for a moment, and she thought, and she thought, and she said, well, if I was the bear and I was tired, I would probably go rest in my den. So let's go take a look and see if he's okay. And so all of the animals went together into the bear den. And there the bear was laying motionless. And all of the animals started to worry. Was he okay? And so they called out, bear, wake up. But he didn't wake up. And so they called louder, bear, wake up. But he didn't wake up. And so they called even louder, and they screamed all together, bear, wake but he didn't wake up. And they thought, oh no, what's wrong with the bear? And the beaver said, well, let me try and give him a little shake. And so she shook him. Bear, wake up. But he didn't wake up. And then she shook him again. Bear, wake up. But he didn't wake up. And then she shook him really hard. Bear, wake up. But he didn't wake up. And all of the animals started to worry. Oh no, what was wrong with the bear? And so the mouse went and listened under his nose for his breath. And his breath was so slow. And the mouse said, oh no, I think the bear's sick. And all of the animals said, oh no, the bear. And the squirrel said, well, let me check his pulse. And so the squirrel went and put her head against his chest, and his heartbeat was... His heartbeat was so slow. And the squirrel said, oh no, I think the bear's dying. And all of the animals said, oh no, bear, what have we done? We asked for too much help even when we didn't need it, and we took him for granted, and now he's gonna die? Oh, this is all our fault. And all of the animals were very upset. Well, except for the beaver, who again was very, very wise. And she said, well, friends, maybe we should just let the bear rest for a while and see what happens. And so all together, all of the animals left the bear den, very sad and sorry for their friend, almost guaranteeing that they had killed him. And so they left. But every time they thought about the bear, they left him beautiful gifts. So they were leaving things like berries, which were one of his favorite things, and salmon, which were one of his favorite things, and honeycomb, which was his very favorite thing. And so there was all sorts of snacks outside the bear den just waiting for him. And they kept looking, and the bear never woke up. The season started to change, and it started to snow, and the winds got cold, and all of the animals were almost positive that the bear was dead because they hadn't seen him all of the winter. And so as the season started to change and the winds got warmer, there was a beautiful crackling sound as the ice started to melt and break up. And that beautiful crackling sound in the springtime, it wakes up all of the beautiful seeds and it helps them to open up. And so as they started to open up and grow, there was this beautiful fresh smell that started wafting all around. And then the crocus, who was always the first to bloom, she started to open up, and her beautiful sweet smell filled the air, and it went right in to that beautiful bear's den, and the bear's nose started twitching. Oh, what is that wonderful smell? It smells so fresh. And is that the crocus? Wait a second. Is that crackling ice and crocus? And what season is it? How long have I been sleeping? Oh my goodness, I better go outside and check. And so he went outside to see how long he'd been sleeping and what season he was. And as he came out of his den, he said, and then he looked down, and there was all of these wonderful snacks that his friend had laid him. Oh my gosh, berries. My favorite. Ooh, salmon. My favorite thing. I love salmon. Honeycomb. Oh, he grabbed it and he bit it. Honeycomb is so good. And he called out, hey friends. Oh, this is sticky. What season is it? And all of his friends turned around and said, Bear, you're alive! It's a miracle! He said, of course I'm alive, friends. I just had a really long nap, but seriously, what season is it? And they said, Bear, the spring. You slept for half of the fall, all of the winter. We all thought you were dead. He said, I'm not dead. I was just sleeping, but I feel so much better now. All right, friends, I'm ready to help. And all of the animals said, oh no, Bear, we don't want to kill you again. He said, I'm not dead. But maybe, friends, so I don't get quite so tired, only ask for help when I really need it. And he said, oh, Bear, you're right. We were taking you for granted, and I know you were a little scared to tell us no. And the bear said, yeah, I guess that's where real courage comes from. Standing up for your friends, or standing up to your friends sometimes if you need to. And they said, I think you're right, Bear. We're sorry. And the bear said, that's okay, but I'd love to help you. And they said, oh no, Bear, don't worry, you don't have to help us. And the bear said, but that's what I love to do. I'll help you all through the spring, all through the summer, through most of the fall. But I think that when the seasons started to change and the leaves change and it starts to get cold, I'm going to have a really big snack and a really long winter's nap. And that is exactly what the bear does. The end. And so this is also why we always watch the bear to know when the seasons are changing. This is why we should have Bear Day, not Groundhog Day. Groundhogs are useless, and because they don't really tell us anything. Like, oh, my shadow, run away. That's like no way to tell. But this season, I was in Kananaskis as the seasons were changing. In December, I was hiking because it was still unseasonably warm in December, and the bear was just starting to bulk up, and I was like, ugh. That's not good. That means we're going to have a bit of a late winter. We're starting to have that false spring now. It's giving us a little hope, but we're going to definitely get another cold snap in April if you're in Mulkinstas. So there might be a couple bears coming out in Banff, but that's not going to translate to down here in the valley. And so, yeah, I'd like to share the bear song with you before closing for the evening. And so, where is my drum? There it is. And this is that bear song. And the bear again teaches us about courage, to stand up for what's right. It's kind of like that canary in the coal mine a lot of the time. It tells us, you know, what to eat and what not to eat. So we would watch the bear to know when certain berries were ripe. There's something called a bear berry or a bison berry. And it's jam-packed with so many vitamins and minerals. It's an incredible medicine, but it's toxic most of the time. And it only comes into season once every 3 to 4 years. And we would watch the bear to know when it was in season because it was such a powerful medicine. Also, you know what not to eat, because in Williams Lake a few years ago, the bear, who normally eat the fish, they stopped eating the fish. And the First Nations people who watched the bear were like, whoa, the bear aren't eating the fish. There's something up with the fish. Don't touch the fish. And so they tried to warn everyone who was in, because Williams Lake is like half reserve, half tourist trap. And so they tried to warn everybody in town, like, don't eat the fish, there's something wrong. But everybody's like, we're here to go fishing on vacation. We're sure it's fine. And I don't know, I did that accent. That was weird. But they started to get sick, and scientists started to come in and be like, okay, what's going on? Why is everybody getting sick? They tested the water, and the water was fine, but then they tested the fish, and the fish actually had a microorganism, a little bug in them that was making everybody sick. So the bear knew it. They didn't touch the fish. The First Nations people who watched the bear knew it. They didn't touch the fish. But nobody else got the memo and had a pretty awful vacation. And so, yeah, it teaches us to really watch the bear because they know exactly what's up. With the pine beetles, they're warning us by chewing and ripping and clawing them off the trees. In Banff, when there was all of those lovely wolves dropped off in the middle of Banff National Park about 15 years ago, that started causing a lot of damage, the bear stepped up and they actually started to eat the wolves because they knew by eating the wolves they would sustain themselves but also protect all of the other animals for the seasons to come. And so they teach us in our own lives we have to have that courage to step up and do what's right for our community. And so this is the Anishinaabe Bear Song, which I had learned from many different elders, and I do the community version from Sharon Turner of Manitopus, and of course Carrie Moore. So I'm very thankful for that. This is the Bear Song. the last song that I want to share with you, it's a thank you song. I was going to do my thank you song, but actually I have another thank you song in my head, so I'm going to share that. Oh, thank you, Auntie Doreen. And here we go. I learned this song from Jessica Sparky McMahon, and I was very thankful because it got stuck in my head and then it wouldn't go away. Hi everyone. Thank you so much again for hanging out with me for a Tuesday. Please do feel free to share. These teachings are open and the songs are open for everyone as long as you acknowledge where they come from. That's the most important part. So this is why I always acknowledge the elders or the families or the nations that they've come from, because I think that's really, it's really important. That's part of keeping that story alive, and it's knowing how it's, you know, touched your heart in a good way. And so yeah, I'll go to everyone. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you next Tuesday. Hi. Sakihitawin, Gitsugakamin, and love you all. We'll see you next week.